Good evening, everybody. David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 Weather Center with your Monday evening complete tropical update. Depression Ida continues to weaken as it moves across the Appalachian chain into the middle part of the country, but it is a significant inland flood threat. We're going to go over rain total forecast here. There are three more systems, including Kate, that we are watching in the Atlantic. Two are potential systems. We'll go over everything as we move along. And then there is this. So August 29th is going to become a very important date for southeast Louisiana. This is Ida making landfall yesterday and her track up through Louisiana. Two other storms have made landfall on the exact same date. Isaac, the yellow line, in 2012 is a Category 1, and Katrina, Category 3 in 2005, all making landfall on the same date, August 29th, in almost the exact same spot, southeast Louisiana. So we look at that and it kind of piques our interest. What does this tell us about the future of this year's hurricane season? Well, let's take a look at what the season where we had Katrina making landfall. 2005, that season had 28 storms and 15 hurricanes. That was the all-time record season on record that we knew of until 2020 came along and blew that one out of the water. When Isaac made landfall, same spot, same day, August 28th. 2021, we had 21 storms, 10 hurricanes that season. So both of those, Katrina and Isaac, those landfalls, 08 and 12, were significant hurricane season with large storm counts. So we've just had Ida made landfall. And so far this year, 11 named storms and 4 hurricanes and counting. Remains to be seen if the 2021 season ends up like either of those seasons did in 05 or 12. And something else. So this is inside the eye of Hurricane Katrina. This is going to be when it was a Cat 5, August 28th, out over the Gulf of Mexico. Max sustained winds at 175. This is what the hurricane hunters saw when they punched through the eye wall into the clear center of Hurricane Katrina in 05. And what they saw was this, the stadium effect. You only get this with major hurricanes, and most often, always, it's over open water, like this one was over the open Gulf of Mexico, 36, 48 hours before making landfall. So the stadium effect, you've got the clouds arcing back as you go higher up in elevation. And that's actually quite common. But what happened with Ida, and this is on Sunday afternoon, Ida making landfall, here's the eye, had the stadium effect. You can see how you've got the circumference at the surface is much smaller than the circumference at the top of the storm. So if you're sitting in the stadium up at the top of the seats, you'd look down and you could see it looking like the Rose Bowl. But what's unusual about this is that this is a satellite loop taken as Ida was 40 miles inland, technically, after making landfall in southeast Louisiana. So what had happened was this was still drawing energy from the marshy, swampy land that makes up a big chunk of the coast of southeast Louisiana. The coast, the actual coastline of southeast Louisiana is a soft term. It really doesn't become coast until 20 or 30 miles inland from the official line of the coast. And that's why the stadium effect occurred technically 40 miles after it made landfall. Very unusual. Here's what's left of Ida. It is our special feature on the map tonight. It has weakened to a tropical depression. It is no longer a significant wind threat. Winds at 35 miles an hour. It could still spin off a small tornado. Moving northeast at 9, it's slowed down. It hasn't accelerated. It's been moving 9 miles an hour all day long. It's going to be a very rainy night in Tupelo, Mississippi. 3, 4, 5 inches of rain possible. Memphis may see some significant rain as well. And because of that, we've got flash flood watches all the way up the spine of the Appalachians through Tennessee, Kentucky, the Virginias, Pennsylvania. This will likely be a significant rainmaker tonight, tomorrow, and the next couple of days. Now, I want to zoom in on a couple of spots here. So northwest Tennessee, from Camden to Springfield to Nashville, look at the rainfall forecast potential tonight through tomorrow. It's 6 to 8 inches. Camden, a little bit of dark red there. That's an 8-inch possibility. So the mountainous areas of the spine of the Appalachian will be wringing out a lot of this rain. This is a significant flash flood threat for Tennessee and maybe even stretching into Kentucky. And then there's Pennsylvania, where computers are suggesting we may see spots Alleghenies, Poconos, where you get 10 to 12 inches of rain. Hagerstown to Harrisburg to Allentown to Philly, and even significant rain being suggested as you get into Jersey and New York proper. So a significant flash flood threat. Pay very close attention to your local weather and take the flood warning seriously if they do impact your neighborhood. Forecast track takes it right up along the spine of the Appalachian Mountains, would help to wring out this moisture. And there's one more factor in this. So going into Wednesday and Thursday, as the remnant low, remember we got a clockwise circulation around that low. Clockwise circulation as it moves along. It's got moisture from the Gulf of Mexico with it, a ton of it. And then as you get closer to the Atlantic Ocean, it's going to pull more moisture off the Atlantic. So you'll have two moisture sources. That remnant circulation pulling moisture off the Atlantic will result in this significant flash flooding threat. Pennsylvania, northern Jersey, New York, portions of upstate New York could also see significant rain totals. And then it's busy in the Atlantic. So we're nearing the statistical peak of hurricane season. That is September 11th. So the next couple of weeks surrounding September 11th are the busiest 2 weeks of the season, and it certainly looks like it. There's Ida moving through the middle part of the U.S. We've got a spot in the Western Caribbean with a slight chance for development. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. We've got a significant chance for development coming off the west coast of Africa. Close look at that in a minute. This is Kate, our actual tropical storm. Kate is having a hard time staying alive. Here's the center, and it is completely exposed from any type of deep convection. The bright reds on the infrared satellite are where you've got the deeper convection. The storm's going way up into the atmosphere. For a storm to continue to exist or to develop, it needs to have that convection near the center. That's not happening right now. It looks like it may be trying to curl back around. But not only is it encountering a lot of shear, but that shear I think is going to increase, and it will be pulled north and then be pulled quickly off into the North Atlantic, and that will be the end of Kate. We're not expecting it to impact land, at least not here in the United States. So coming off the west coast of Africa is Invest 90L. So this is a vigorous tropical wave. It's already beginning to kind of have that look where it's beginning to tumble a little bit. Pressure 1,007 millibars. Max winds at 30 miles an hour, moving west at 16. So what's the future of 90L? So this is interesting. Some of the models take it west. Some of the models pull it north. Before you've got a closed low, so we don't have a closed low there yet. Those spaghetti plots can usually be all over the place. They're not initiating off a closed center, and that creates a large amount of uncertainty in the future track and future development of that system. And that's why you see the spread on those computer models. So I wanted to take a look at this. This is the GFS, the American model. These are surface isobars. It does develop some sort of tropical system as we head into Thursday and Friday. But talk about uncertainty. It also develops a secondary low to the north, and that kind of interacts with it, pulls it north, and the GFS stops it in its tracks and pulls it to the north. That's one possible outcome for this. Going back to Kate, we've got a trough up here at 500 millibars. Kate will be pulled north by that trough. That's why Kate's going north, and that's kind of what the GFS is feeling. That's why it kind of wants to tug potential Larry to the north. But this is the Euro 500 millibar forecast, so not the American. We've switched to the Euro, and it's interesting. The Euro develops a ridge over the north-central Atlantic, and it develops Larry. This is a 500 millibar reflection of the surface low that will be forming, and it wants to tuck Larry underneath that ridge of high pressure and move it more west than anything else. So there's a potential Larry, and this is going into Monday, the 6th. Now remember, this is all being run off a system that hasn't formed yet, so there's a large amount of uncertainty here. This is just what the models are showing at the moment. But what I see when I look at this, do you see the potential outcome for all of this? So there's another trough developing here as we head into next Monday, the 6th of September. That trough would likely grab a Larry if it were to get into this position and go ahead and pull it further north and perhaps protect the East Coast from Larry. It's a long way out, a lot of uncertainty. It's something we'll be watching over the coming days. A little closer to home, this spot's got a 20% chance. I say a spot, it's more of a region. You see we've got a flare-up of scattered showers and thunderstorms here. It's a disturbance, 20% chance something develops here in the next 5 days. So let's look at the computer runs on this. And again, we're going to use the Euro, and it tries to develop a little low pressure area east of Nicaragua and Honduras, maybe going into Wednesday, 1st of September. But it's so close to land, it kind of moves in and the whole thing just kind of fizzles out. Now, we may get a slug of moisture re-emerge in the southern Gulf, so we'll keep an eye on that. But again, this is a model trying to forecast on a system that has not developed yet. So a larger amount of uncertainty than normal with this. What you can see is, again, this is the Euro, this is the surface streamlines, and it does develop Tropical Storm or Hurricane Larry going into the 5th Sunday in that spot where perhaps a trough, and that line of showers out here would be a reflection of that trough. Perhaps it could get caught up in that and be pulled north and not threaten the east coast of the United States. But these are all things that need several days to play out, and we need more information. We need closed low pressure areas to form to really get a good solid bead on where these potential systems will end up. That's where we stand tonight, folks. Questions or comments, hit me up on social. We'll be back with another complete update tomorrow.